So guys, welcome to the Bystial Dragon Link Deck profile. As I just teased yesterday, we are now discussing the deck list at first, but let me now, same with the branded Bystial list that I did a few days ago, let me just say how strong I think this deck is. When you are facing your tier limit opponent, then I think this deck is really strong, obviously, because you have a lot of Bystials that you can have even if you go second and that you can interrupt your opponent's plays with. Also, you can resummon your Bystials via branded Regained, so they are coming back all the time, so you can once again use Baldrak's Banishing effect and other cards. And you have really easy access to the Bystials, so you will have them very often and very consistently. You also have 3 Bystial Lobelion, though I will show you one tech card that you can swap out against one Bystial Lobelion that was in the original deck list. I have this from here, which I think is also nice. I ran the 3 Bystial Lobelion variant. Maybe I will try to run the other variant, but we will come to that when we come to Bystial Lobelion. So we are running 41 cards. And when it comes to the strength level, besides beating tier elements, I think it's a really consistent, good deck. I find this to be way more consistent than his tier elements, which seems to be the most inconsistent at the moment in my opinion, and branded Bystial, which also seems to be a bit inconsistent. You can definitely brick with the deck. With this deck, bricking is quite hard, I have to say, though keep in mind that this deck is not as strong when going second. So going second, it has some problems, I would say, because you don't really have anything here that can break a board. That's the thing. So you basically have to interrupt your opponent via Maxi, Ash Blossom, or other stuff, the Bystials on his turn, or you really have to hope that he... So let me just say it like this. If they manage to build a really impressive board, it's pretty unlikely that you will break it, but I think it's alright. As of right now, my win percentage lies above 50%. I would say about around 55% in Diamond 2 right now. I think this deck, and I have seen it because the guy I have the list from is also Master 1 with it, so you can of course read Master 1 with it. In terms of fun, I think it's a really cool, a really fun deck. The branded Bystial matchup is really crazy, and if they are playing the Alba Lenatus, then it can be a bit tricky. Otherwise, it's a very even matchup, I would say. Obviously, against Sprite, you don't have a lot of things to banish in his graveyard, which is a bit unfortunate. And against Flonderies, it's so matchup. So all in all, I think it's a strong deck in a meta that can perform really well. It is very consistent, also very fun to play because there are a lot of cool dragons, and who does not like dragons? Let's be real, guys. So let's just start in. Obviously, I won't go over cards like Maxi or Ash Blossom. They should be clear. First thing is the Rocket Synchron, and it's part of the Rocket engine that is in the deck, consisting of the Rocket Synchron, Rocket Tracer, and Rocket Recharger, and they also have a synergy with the Boot Sector Launch, which we will come to in a moment, also with the Quick Launch, which we will also come to in a moment. Also, the Striker Dragon has a synergy with Rocket Monsters, but that does not come up that often. So what does Rocket Synchron do? Rocket Synchron is one of your best normal summons, especially if you have another Dark Dragon is in your graveyard, because when this card is normal summoned by the way, so special summon is not that great, you can target one level 5 or higher Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard, and then special summon in defense position, negates its effect and destroy it during the end phase. But that's usually fine. This has 1 star, and it's also a tuner, so what sometimes comes up, which is really nice, is that you can summon him, resummon your Absoluta Dragon, which is level 7, and then you have access to, for example, your Chaos Ruler or your Borderlord Savage, which are level 8. Also notice that because this is a level 1 tuner, this together with, for example, the Bystial Lobelion or a Chaos Dragon Levianeer can go into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. I will talk about this in a moment, but this is basically the way in which you enable your Synchro 9 plays. So really nice card that you can also summon via your Boot Sector Launch, and you can also resummon, for example, via your Rocket Tracer. You can also resummon them via your Quad Bowl Dragon, but I will come to that in a moment. We are playing triple Maxi, we are playing triple Ash, nothing to say here. And then we have the White Dragon and the Black Dragon, guys. So in TCG they are both at 1, we have them at 2. So we are playing 2 whites and 1 dark. Reason being is that it's way easier for us to banish a dark than it is for us to banish a light, so we have 2 lights here. These are really nice starters. You cannot normal summon any of the two, but you can special summon them by banishing one light or dark. So the light guy has to banish the dark one, the dark guy has to banish the light one from the graveyard, and then you can special summon them. And if they then leave the field, then you can search you can basically add the other counterpart. So if this leaves the field, you can add the black one. If the black one leaves the field, you can add the white one. And this is really important for your basic combo, because your basic line that I will show you in the combos, in the combo tutorial, need you to go into first the Striker Dragon and then the Drag Unity Knight Romulus. And you basically need one level 4 dragon for this and a second level 4 dragon. And if you have one of these that you can summon, then you basically have 2 level 4 dragons, because you can search the other one. This is why this card is really impactful, really strong, a really awesome extender in the deck. Yeah, really strong card, also something that you can quite often put back with Chaos Space into the deck. Also keep in mind that if you are going to search, how was it? Oh yeah, you can summon this guy, then you can search him, and he can search the other light guy. And if you then put back, because this is not once per turn, the search part, and then if you put back with Chaos Space your black dragon, you can again search the black dragon. So in theory, you could go this guy, search this guy, search the other guy that's still in the deck, put back, if you have Chaos Space in the graveyard, because Chaos Space can put back one of your banished, now I have to read it because I always only use it. You can banish this from your graveyard to target one of your banished light or dark monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set. So they apply to this, also Bystial Dragon, for example. And you can get this thing back into the deck, and because this then leaves the field, you can search this once again. Obviously you cannot resummon them once you summon them once a turn, but you can use them to discard. Then we have Rocket Tracer, one of the core cards in the deck. This is level 4 tuner. This is basically the card that you make all your level 8s with, if you are not using your Synchron in combination with your Absolute Router, of course, but normally you will use your Rocket Tracer. It's one of your best normal summons, and it also has a really nice effect, quick effect. You can target one face-up card you control, so any card by the way, destroy it, and if you do, a special summon one rocket monster from your deck, except Rocket Tracer. But this is really important. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except dark monsters. So think about this twice, because you are locking yourself out of Romulus. Normally you do this way after Romulus, but if you are planning on, you're locking yourself out of the Seal and out of Baron, for example. These are prominent examples that you will not be able to summon after you use Rocket Tracer's effect. Note also that if, for example, you use a Quick Launch and have a Rocket Tracer on the field, then you could, for example, this is Chaining 1, Chaining 2, quick effect, target the Quick Launch, destroy the Quick Launch, obviously it still resolves, and then summon another rocket monster. So you then can summon, for example, the Synchron from the deck or the Recharger. Oftentimes you will summon the Recharger because this is level 4, this is level 4 tuner, and together they form the core for a Borrowed or Chaos Ruler. So what you normally do is that you summon your Striker Dragon, but we will see this in the replay moment. Summon the Striker Dragon, get the Boot Sector launch, go into the Drag Unity Knight Romulus with another level 4 dragon or another dragon in general. Then you search your Dragon Ravine, and then you can, if you have a Rocket Tracer in hand, use your Boot Sector launch to special summon your Rocket Tracer, destroy your Boot Sector launch with your Rocket Tracer, summon this guy, and then you have access to your Chaos Ruler or maybe to your Borrowed or to more other plays that we will talk about in a moment. So Rocket Recharger is more of a normal summon guy. You can normal summon him and then go into Striker Dragon, because Striker Dragon needs one level 4 or lower dragon monster. This is why you need a dragon monster, a level 4 dragon monster at the start of all your game plans, so to say. But it also has an additional effect that can come up if a dark monster you control that was special summoned from the exo deck is destroyed by battle or card effect. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one of those destroyed monsters and special summon one dark monster from your graveyard with a different original name. So pretty complicated text, comes up sometimes. So basically saying if a dark monster that was special summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect that includes yours or your opponent's, then this guy can go to the grave and resummon another dark monster that has a different name. Can come up, is quite nice, but is more or less an extender for this guy to have access to your level 8 Synchro lines. Then we have the best normal summon in the deck. In the beginning I was like, okay, well, I hate this card is just bad, but this card is so amazing. This is the best card in the deck, or one of the best cards in the deck. It's level 4 dragon, so you can use it for your Striker Dragon starting point. You can send any number of dragon monsters from your hand or face up field to the graveyard, and then add one dragon monster from your deck to your hand whose level equals the original levels. And then, second effect, you can use both of them. You can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one level 8 light or dark monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So if you, for example, pitch your Lobelion, you could add back your Lobelion back to hand to activate your Lobelion. You can also send your Chaos Dragon Levianeer via, for example, your Absol or maybe your Millet. And then if you have the Cypher in the grave, you can get the Levianeer back to hand by banishing the Cypher. Really awesome card. So the first effect is also really strong. What you normally want to do is, but you can obviously do different lines, but what you can do is that you summon him, activate his effect, then you send himself from the field, and then you can get to your hand a level 4 dragon monster. And what you then normally grab is the black dragon, because then the Cypher is in the graveyard. Obviously, if you can, do not banish the Cypher, because then you cannot use the second effect. But let's imagine this is the first starting point you go for in the combo and you have nothing else in your grave, then you need to banish your Cypher. It's okay, but you are using effect of Cypher, getting yourself the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, banishing the Cypher, summoning the Black Dragon, and then you can go the line which I talked about a few moments ago. This is why this is so awesome. What you could also do if you have, for example, your Chaos Dragon Levianeer or your Bystial Lobelion, depends on what one of the two that you have, or maybe a Bystial, that also works. You can discard one of your Bystials to get another Bystial, or you can discard either the Levianeer or the Lobelion to get the other one, because they are both level 8. Really awesome card, really strong. We have, I think I don't need to talk about the Bystials here. Magnemute obviously to search. Saronir is really important or strong in this deck, because at first you could send your Lobelion to the grave and then summon your Lobelion, but what comes up way more often, what I do way more often, is that I send the branded Regained to the grave, because you will often have access to your Lobelion line, and if you then summon Lobelion, you then can set your branded Beast, and branded Beast in the end phase can reset your branded Regained from the grave. So this is what I often do with Bystial Saronir. So the Bystial that I often go for when I use Bystial Lobelion's effect to discard himself is the Saronir. Obviously Magnemute is also nice, because then you get another Bystial in the end phase, but I oftentimes get to Magnemute as well. So I grab my Saronir, then I summon my Saronir, then I tribute my Saronir for my Lobelion, then Saronir is in the grave, and then I can pitch my Regained, I can set my Beast, and then reset my Regained to the field. So this is really nice. We are playing on Druiswarm, we are playing triple Baldrake, just a really big Bystial package. Baldrake is really awesome, one of the strongest cards that can really interrupt your opponent. Absol deck, if you don't know the guy, it's really awesome. Firstly, if you control a rocket monster, so these guys here, you can special summon this card, so really awesome. But what this often ends up being is the guy with the second effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one rocket monster to your hand from your deck. You could, for example, you can add one rocket monster. Yeah, so right. So this is one that you a lot of times send to get another rocket monster for your boot sector launch. But we will talk about this in a moment in more detail. And then we have Chaos Dragon Levianeer, which is really nice. This can also be get back from your Chaos Space, because it can be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by banishing 3 light and or dark monsters from your graveyard, and depending on what you are banishing, it has different effects. Only light never comes up. Special summon one monster from your graveyard in defense position. I never did this, not because you can't, but because it's not that relevant. Oftentimes, if you're going first and can summon the guy, you go only dark, because you can shuffle one random card from your opponent's hand into the deck, which is super strong in my opinion. And then this is one of the coolest and best tools that you have available to break an opponent's board, because if you get both light and dark, so banishing 3, a light and a dark at least, then you can destroy up to 2 cards on the field. Really cool card, really strong, awesome card in the deck. Then we have Bystial Lobelion. You know the guy already, I think. You can, when you have it in hand, you can just discard him to get another Bystial, then he is engraved and can be resummoned. And also you can set one of your branded spells. In this case, we are most often setting the branded Beast. Then we have Chaos Space. Oh, Chaos Space is so good. Such a good card. This and this are so awesome starters you definitely want to see in hand. Also, we want to see Bystial Lobelion in hand. And let's just talk about the card that you could replace one of the Bystials with, the Lobelions with, that the guy that I originally have a list from has in a deck. So this guy had this in the deck instead of a third Lobelion. I wanted more Lobelion consistency. Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon. So this has the pendulum effect that you can set in your pendulum zone, can pay 1000 life points and then target one of your banished dragon monsters, destroy this, and then you can add it back to your hand. But you can also, this is quite cool, but you can also special summon him by banishing one light and dark monster from your graveyard. And then it has the really interesting effect that once per turn you can pay half your life points and send as many cards you control as possible to the graveyard except from the extra monster zone. And if you do, send cards your opponent controls to the graveyard up to the number of your cards sent to the graveyard, and then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card. And if this face-up special summon card leaves the field, return it to the bottom of the deck. So what this basically is a way to clear the board, you could say. And keep in mind that you can also summon this via your Hieratic Seal, because if you don't know it, if you tribute Hieratic Seal itself, it then can special summon a dragon from the deck, but the dragon has 0 attack and 0 defense. So you could get this to the field via that effect. This can theoretically clear the board, and if, for example, you have your Borderland Dragon in the extra monster zone, then you can keep your Borderland Dragon, because this said that the extra monster zone doesn't count for this effect. So two really strong effects. Also the fact that you can special summon him by banishing cards from your graveyard gives you the option to extend your plays with the guy. So I definitely will try this out, but as of right now I really like having 3 Lubelions, because I really like seeing Lubelion in my opening hand, because Lubelion in the opening hand basically means that you have the whole Lubelion line available, because you can go Lubelion, discard Lubelion, grab your Saronir, summon your Saronir, then tribute Saronir for Lubelion, put the Branded Regain to the grave. Then you have the Lubelion on the field, set your Branded Beast to the board, and then you have basically all your branded spells that you want available. So this is really strong. This is why I like 3 Bystial Lubelion. But let's talk about Chaos Space. So you can send 1 light or dark monster from your hand to the graveyard. One of the coolest things, or one of the optimal sends, is obviously the Absolute Dragon, because this activates in graveyard. Also Bystial Saronir, also really awesome send. And then you can add 1 light or dark monster that cannot be normal set from your deck to your hand with a level from 4 to 8. So you can get these guys here, or you can get your Bystial Lubelion, or you could get your Chaos Dragon Levian here. So really strong if you have this in your starting hand, and you can basically go for your starters, or you can go for your Bystial starter line. So you basically have these 2 lines. The one line is the line that optimally ends in Borderland Dragon, the other line is the complete Bystial package line, and you want to, in an optimal world, combine both of these. And the other cool thing is, when this is in the graveyard, you can banish this and target one of your banished light or dark monsters that cannot be normal set summoned. This will most likely be these guys. Put them back into the deck, and then you can draw a card, which is really nice, really awesome bonus advantage. Then we have Dragon Ravine and Bootsack to launch the field spells in this deck. So Dragon Ravine, you are searching of your Romulus. This is where you make your Romulus, and then you can, once per turn, if this is still on the field, you can still use it. You can discard 1 card, then activate one of those effects. Add 1 level 4 or lower Drag Unity monster from your deck to your hand. This we cannot do because there's nothing in here. Send 1 Dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. This is why we use this for, and what you are most of the time sending is your Absolute Order, because sending Absolute Order gives you then one of your rocket monsters, mostly your Tracer, and I will talk about why this is important in a moment. But you could also send your Saronir to then send your Lubelion, or could send your Lubelion directly. You can also, if for example you have your Safeheart in the grave, send your Levianir or your Lubelion, and then banish your Safeheart and get one of these back to hand from the graveyard. Could also do that. There are a lot of lines. So this is what you use the Dragon Ravine for. And then we have the Boot Sector launch, which you are searching via your Striker Dragon that you make first in your combo line. And Boot Sector launch is really, really awesome. Normally you destroy this via your Rocket Tracer to summon your Rocket Recharger, as I already said, but if you can manage it, you will optimally destroy the Dragon Ravine and keep the Boot Sector launch, but because this can also gain you advantage in the future. So what do you want to use this for? At first, all rocket monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. This is not that relevant, but it's also cool. But then you can, and this comes up most of the time, special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. And this is why you send your Absolute Dragon to the field via your Dragon Ravine, to the graveyard, sorry, and then grab a Rocket Tracer, because you can, if you have no normal summon left, you can play the Boot Sector launch, then special summon a Rocket Tracer. Maybe you have even more rocket cards in hands, even more awesome then. And what you then normally do is you activate Rocket Tracer's effect, destroy the Boot Sector launch because you don't need it anymore, summon this guy, and then you have the level 8 Synchro line that I already talked about. But if you can manage to keep this on the field, this also has the bonus effect: if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon rocket monsters with different names from your graveyard and defense position up to the difference. So Let's for example say your opponent breaks your board and then plays 3 monsters, and you have these 3 guys in the graveyard, and it passes over to you and you have Boot Sector Launch. Then you can resummon all of them and start your play again. So this is why Boot Sector Launch is the better, or in my opinion the better card to keep on the board in comparison to Dragon Ravine. And then we have Banded Regained, which you know already, if a light or dark monster is banished, which happens all the time, you can target one of those monsters, place them on the bottom of the deck, then draw a card. Really awesome. And then in every turn, if your opponent normal special summons a monster, you can special summon a Bystial, not Bystial Lubellion for some reason, because it's also Bystial, but Lubellion doesn't work. It's because it must be special summoned by this condition. Okay, sorry guys. But you can then resummon your Bystials, and this grind game makes you able to win against a lot of decks, because you can always resummon the Bystials. The Bystials have really strong on-board effects and are really big beat sticks that you can also use to climb your Link climbs. Then we have one of this card, this card, and this card. Also, Chaos Space are one of the best cards in the deck. Quick Launch is just special summon one rocket monster from your deck, but it cannot attack, also destroy during the end phase. So you are special summoning, for example, your Tracer. Tracer can use the effect, you will link them away. It doesn't matter that they get destroyed in the end phase, they will never see the end phase. But keep in mind that they cannot attack. Remember my my replay in which I nearly lost the game because I didn't realize that. Then we have Caught By, and we have Branded Beast, which obviously can, by attributing one of the Bystials, destroy a card, and can also reset your Branded Regained. Really awesome. And yeah, this is the main deck. Then we have Borrowed Savage Dragon. Normally you want to wait until you have at least your Romulus or your Triple Burst in the graveyard to then equip these to him to have an Omni Negate. Chaos Ruler is used to extend your plays, but keep in mind that sometimes it makes more sense, and I will show you this in a moment, more sense to keep these guys on the field to go into your Borrowed End Dragon than to make your Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler is way more consistent now that we have all the Bystials, because you oftentimes will find one of the Bystials, and that's nice, but it's still an inconsistent card. Nah? Keep that in mind. You can resummon this by banishing one light and dark monster. That is quite nice, and you will use him for additional stuff on the field that you contribute your way. Then you have your Dragon Archfiend. It's just quick effect. You can target one face-up card your opponent controls and negates its effect until the end of this turn. This can also negate an evenly matched, by the way, because you can target the open card on the field. Then we have Baron, nothing to say. We have Wolo, which is basically to finish off your opponent, because you can make him with 2 Bystials. Never came up until now. Then we have Pisty, and I will show you in a moment why Pisty is strong. Pisty together with your Triple Burst Dragon, because he is pointing to the right zone and the Triple Burst Dragon is pointing to the lower zone, allows you to activate Pisty's effect to special summon a dragon to the field. So you are basically going for this Pisty Triple Burst Dragon line, which I will show you, to get a +1, another body on the field. Then we have the core card Striker Dragon. You will make this with 1 level 4 or lower dragon monsters to get your Boot Sector Launch, and then this also has an effect that can come up. You can target one face-up monster you control and 1 rocket monster in your graveyard, for example your Tracer, and your Tracer can then destroy another thing and summon another thing from the deck. Keep that in mind. You destroy that monster on the field and then resummon, special summon the rocket monster in the graveyard. Then we have Spheres, which is also really nice. 2 dragon monsters. Keep in mind this is light, you cannot make this after activating Tracer's effect. But this can once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, always place it there. Quick effect, you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field, return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. And if this card is the card tributed, so you basically always want to tribute this card for the effect, you can special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack def 0. So you can use this on your opponent's turn if you can go into nothing else but the Heretic Seal. This can really be strong, can really stop your opponent's plays. You can then bounce something and then can summon, I don't know, maybe a Magnamut to get yourself a search for your next turn to be able to play, or maybe you are searching, I don't know, Bystial Irony or so when it goes to grave that you can then search something. Then you have your Romulus, which you basically need to grab your Dragon Ravine, but this also has the effect. This comes up sometimes. If a dragon monster is special summoned from the extra deck zone to a zone this card points to, that you can do with your Pisty, for example. You can special summon 1 dragon or winged beast monster from your hand in defense position, but for the rest of this turn its effects are negated and it cannot be used as link material. But it's also, it's quite cool, because sometimes you can summon something like a Bystial that, for example, with another tuner you could go into Baron the Flow with. Then we have Quad Barrel Dragon, can come up sometime, is quite nice. 2 dragon monsters including a rocket monster. What you can do with this guy is that this is link 2, you can discard 1 card, so this at first needs you to discard 1, then target 1 face monster on the field. This will most likely be the Quad Barrel Dragon, could also be another link 2 that your opponent controls. You cannot special summon link 2 or lower monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, also destroy the targeted monsters, mostly him. And then you can special summon any number of rocket monsters with different names from your hand or graveyard up to its link rating. So this enables you to go into these 2 here if they are in the graveyard, to go into mostly your borrow load, but it's to go into a synchro 8 play. But of course, what you could also do, if your opponent controls a link 3 monster, you could destroy his link 3 monster, and then if you have 3 of these in grave, you can summon all 3 of them. So this can be really nice. Dark the Charmer Gloomy is really nice with the Bystials. Keep in mind that if you steal your opponent's Bystials, you can make Wallow, for example. Then we have Triple Burst Dragon. The main effect of this guy is that he points to the zone below together with the Pisty to resummon a guy. Then we have Access Code Talker and the end boss monster Bowl End Dragon that we basically want to make on our end board. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, although neither player can target this card with monster effects, and then this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. And quick effect, this is really nice, you can target 1 effect monster on the field and 1 rocket monster in your graveyard. Note here that you need a rocket monster in the graveyard to activate this effect, otherwise it doesn't work, so always keep 1 there. And then negate the effect of the targeted monster, so it's a negate. And by the way, this negate stays, so this guy is negated all the time. And then special summon that other monster, so the rocket monster you pointed, to your field. So you can special summon a guy and negate one of your opponents that gets negated permanently. Really strong card, really hard to out. And yeah, that's the deck, that's the explanation for every card. But let's go into the tutorials where I show you the lines in detail and replays. So this is a nice example of a cool hand. We have both lines available basically to us. We have the Bystial line via our Bystial Lobelion in hand, and we also have a Chaos Space that we can use. So let's just start with Chaos Space. In this case we want to drop our Lobelion because we have 2 of them, and also it's nice to have him in grave. We are grabbing our Black Dragon, and as you can see, we have the light here in the grave. Otherwise I would have dropped this guy, also would have a light in the grave, and now we can at first go for the Bowl and Dragon line. I will banish the Bystial Lobelion here, it doesn't really matter because we have the second one, and as you can see right now here, there's also the Chaos Space that we could use, but let's not use it right now because there are some cards that we want to pull out of the deck first before we're going to use the Chaos Space. So what you're going to make first is your Striker Dragon. This is basically always your first play, the Striker Dragon, because this is basically a +1, it gives you boot sector. Also because it sends the other dragon, the Black Dragon, to the graveyard from the field. It can now activate to search the White Dragon, which we already have one, but it's alright, we can use them for discard or something. Note also here that you can activate this first and the second to chain block this, which is really nice. We will see this again in a moment. We are going to grab the White Dragon, and now we will summon our White Dragon and banishing the black one. We now have the boot sector launch also, and what we can do now is activate Chaos Space right here, banishing this and putting our black back to the deck, because as I already said, the white can search the black once again. We also have drawn the Star Leech Ciphered. It's not that important right now, but what we could do here is, if we don't want to use the Lobelion, we could also use this to get the Chaos Dragon Levian here, but we will use this for something else. So now we have 2 monsters here on the field. So note here that for this guy you need 1 level 4 or lower dragon monster, and now for the next part of the combo, which is basically always the same, you need any dragon monster. So you don't need level 4 here. Your Bystial Lobelion, for example, could also work. But let's use this right here. We are using these here to go into our Romulus, and Romulus then adds us the Dragon Ravine. And once again, we can chain block Romulus from Ash Blossom. This searches us the Black Dragon that we just have put back into the deck, which is really, really nice. Gets us another card to discard, because we will need to discard for the Dragon Ravine. Yeah, we get the Dragon Ravine here. And now I am playing the Dragon Ravine. Next thing is that we will activate a Dragon Ravine, and we are pitching, let's just see, let's pitch the dark one, honestly. pitching the dark one, and now we can decide. So this is what I talked about. You could go for the Saronir now, dump the Saronir. Doesn't make any sense because we have the Lubelion in hand. This will get us the Saronir. You could dump the Lubelion itself. Doesn't make any sense. We have it in hand, so we go for the thing that you will most likely always drop, the Absolute Router. And Absolute Router now allows us to search a rocket monster to our hand. We are taking the Tracer. And now what we could do now, I talked about this in the deck section. What you could do now is normal summon the Rocket Tracer, destroy the Dragon Ravine for its effect, and then play the Boot Sector launch to have its second effect available. But we also have the Starleech Seyfert, a really nice additional normal summon that we will use in a moment to tribute our White Dragon, Wyver Burster, and maybe our Starlight for a Chaos Dragon Levianeer, but more to that in a moment. Let's go over the basic lines here that you basically always want to follow. Let's just say we are going this line here and not normal summoning the Tracer. We are playing the Boot Sector launch, activating it to then special summon the Rocket Tracer to the field. Now we can activate Rocket Tracer's effect. Right now we are locked into Dark Monsters, so if you want to make a Baron or a Seal, then you should do this before this point here, before activating the Tracer. Destroy the Boot Sector launch, we deactivate the Ash here. Then we summon this guy, and now we have these on the field. And now we have two options. We can go first, and this, as I already said, makes more sense right now. You don't want to go for the Borrow Load because you only have a Striker Dragon and you will get a better setup later. You could go now for the Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, to extend your place. This you can do because you can use these here, but we will now go for the line that brings you into your Bowl and Savage Dragon. I want to show you this. You make Guard Dragon Pisty, and for Guard Dragon Pisty, once again, you need a level 4 or lower Dark Dragon, 4 or lower Dragon monster, sorry. So you need 2 level 4 or lower Dragon monsters to make this whole combo work. It doesn't matter which one you use here, you go Pisty, and then you can, at this point, also, it's not always the case, but you can also activate Dragunity Romulus. We could summon our Starlight Seyfert here, sure, why not, right? Could also have normal summoned the guy, but it's okay, it's cool. Then again, we have, in this case, we have more options. Oh, that's right, you can send. Oh, that's okay, because we can still send him. Its effect is negated, but we can still activate the effect because it's cost. The semicolon says it's cost, so it will go to the grave and then still activate. I think. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe that was a wrong play, but it doesn't matter. The thing I wanted to show you still works. We are going this guy here and the other one to go into Triple Burst, and now Triple Burst and Pisty are pointing at the same zone. And Pisty says if 2 Link monsters are pointing at a free zone at the same zone, you can special summon a dragon from the graveyard. Here you can special summon basically whatever, it does not really matter. I normally go for the Tracer here, but yeah, as I already said, it doesn't really matter. Let's try if this works, otherwise I should have normal summoned the guy. So we are sending himself to the graveyard and nothing else. Okay, it doesn't work. So what you could have done here, and what would be a cool play, is to send him to the graveyard, also the White Dragon Wyver Burster, because we cannot summon him anymore, and then we could have grabbed ourselves a level 8 monster from the deck, which would have been our Levianeer, which then we could also have ripped one of our opponent's hands cards. So now you can use all of these to go into your Boral End. Here's the Boral End, and now we can start making the Bystial line that we also have available. And as I already said, so now you can decide. You can decide if you want your Bystial Magnemute. That would mean that you get an additional search for an additional Bystial at the end of the turn, or you go for your Saronir. That means that you can get your Branded Regain to the field. I think Branded Regain to the field is way more important in my opinion, and we can, oops, not that one. What we can now do is activate the Seyfert. As you can see here, this effect is also live, that we can add a level 8 Dragon Monster back to our hand. So we could add our Lubelion back to the hand, but obviously we don't want to because we want to summon him now. So we are going to banish. In this case, never banish your rocket monsters. You need them, especially for the effect here. You can easily banish, for example, your Pisty. It doesn't really matter. Also, you will maybe get him back via Chaos Space. So what you can do now, obviously, is special summon the Bystial Lubelion here in defense position. Saronir goes to the grave, Lubelion to the field. And now activate Saronir. Pitch your Branded Regained, then activate Lubelion to set this thing here. And what you now can do, unfortunately we do not have this engraved, but it would have been awesome. What you can do now is activate Ball and negate the Bystial Obedience effect. It doesn't have effect, so it doesn't matter. And if you would have gotten the level 1 tuner in the grave, then you could now resummon the level 1 tuner. We only have level 4 unfortunately. Could resummon the level 1 tuner and then go for your Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, because that would make a level 9. We are left with these guys here. What we can do, let me think about this for a moment. We can go quad barrel. Yeah, we can. So I can show you the quad barrel line as well. That's really nice. We had a really nice hand. So we have this, we have this. This will set the branded regain. But let me also show you the quad barrel line. We will use these here because we don't need them anymore. Place them here, and now you can activate quad barrel here. We are ditching this guy and targeting the quad barrel. And now we can resummon 2 of our rocket monsters, this one. And what we could now do if we are really crazy, so now we have the option to either go for the Chaos Ruler to extend our place and maybe find another Bystial. But let's go for the Borrow Load, because this is basically nearly the perfect field that you can end up on if you are somehow managing to get also your Hot Red Dragon Archfiend on the field. Then this would be, I think, the perfect field. It would not get any better. Or if you maybe could have managed to get a Baron on the field. We are picking the Link 3, so we have 3 negates on this now. This also has a lot of attack. You can see that we can use the Cypher to get back our, as I already said, our Bystial Obelion here. We could do that, but let's just not do it right now. We are using oh, sorry guys, I missed this. Okay, so normally you could see I had this thing on off, but normally our Branded Beast in the end phase would have triggered to reset the Branded Regained. We could have then reset Branded Regained, and on the first normal or special summon we could have resummoned our Bystial Saronir. Then our Branded Beast would have been live, and we have the negate from the bowl, and we have an Omni negate from the Savage. We have the Ash Blossom to negate, we have this to destroy, and we have also the Bystial Saronir on the field. So yeah, I toggled this unfortunately to off, but obviously there would be the Branded Regained, and also if something gets banished, then you can also put something of the banished cards back and draw another card. Really, really strong. Normally your opponent will not be able to break this, except for Alba Lenato Singh, but yeah, this is the basic combo line, the Bystial line and also the Boral and Dragon line. But keep in mind that obviously you will be interrupted at some points possibly, and then there will be other lines available. Maybe you extend via your Chaos Ruler, maybe you get to summon only your Hot Red Dragon or something like this. Maybe most of the time you will end up on a Bowl end, but not all of the time will there be a Borrowed Savage Dragon as well. Maybe you will have some Bystials here, you will have some Bystials in the hand. It really depends a bit on what you are drawing and what you can do. So yeah, let me just show you this, guys. That's really nice. You can negate this and then resummon your Tracer, for example, which then, for example, could destroy another card and resummon another rocket monster. You can also destroy himself. So this could be a way to get this here into the grave for maybe next turn. But yeah, there are a lot of plays that are available to this deck, and I hope you understood the combos and it was clear how to navigate them. And now for the finale, I have a wonderful replay against Tearlaments for you, where you can see how strong this deck is against Tearlaments. Obviously, we are opening a very nice hand, but you are more likely to open a good hand with this deck when it comes to Bystials, because this deck runs a lot of Bystials. So we have 3 Bystials, different names. We have Starlight, the best normal summon, and we have the Bystial Obelion line already available. He pitches his Bystial Obelion, grabbing his Magna Mood. He then plays the Scream. He's Tearlaments, we know that now. Chiron pitches something and there activates his Chiron in the grave and also his Scream. Then I go a Bystial Druistorm. He cannot respond because I don't have a monster on the field, so his Bystial is not quick effect. I banish this, we go Druistorm on the field. Then he pitches 3 and hits Crime. He can get back his Chiron to hand. The play continues. He wants to special summon his Magna Mood. I don't want him to special summon his Magna Mood because I don't want him to special summon his Lubelion. Also, I don't want Magna Mood. I don't want him to search for another Bystial, so I use one of my Bystials targeting his same Psy Frame Driver and banishing it instead, so his Magna Mood stays in the hand. I go for Ball Deck so that when something comes from the extra deck, I can banish it. He of course can play the other Chiron, goes for the Time Thief Redoer, and I activate my Ball Deck to banish this guy, Obviously he can now react with the effect, but he has already used Shyren, so Shyren going to grave this turn is not impactful, so that's alright. He activates this will leave the field, come back in the end phase, and this ends the turn. Now there is the Time Thief Reader, it's back. We are drawing, we are activating, or he's activating Time Thief. Obviously he's drawing a spell, they always draw a spell. Though the good thing is that this will go to the grave and then we can use the Chaos Space to draw another card. And this will come up in a moment. Bystial Dragon here, and he activates the Time Thief to draw a card. We will grab ourselves a Magnamut. And he also has his Magnamut in hand still. He activates his Magnamut to remove our Bystial Dragon, I activate my Saronir to remove my own Bystial Dragon, so he does not get to summon his Magnamut once again. Also, I want my Saronir on the field. Unfortunately, we have to banish him, but now I activate my Chaos Space, shuffling him back and drawing a card. And what do we draw? Another Lubellion. So I summon the Lubellion, and he imperms me at this point, we will see in a moment. And here you can see I pitched the Branded Regained. In a perfect world, I would now have set the Branded Beast, and then Branded Beast could have reset the Branded Regained, but now we are getting impermed here, unfortunately. But we still have all the lines available. I have not even used my Starlight Safeard here. I just go the Safeard, I tribute this for the Black Dragon, could have also gone another route. Summon the Black Dragon and he just scoops. So this deck is really strong against Telemans, really strong against the meta in general. I hope you liked the guide. And if you have not seen it already, then go check out this really awesome and crazy replay against Branded Bystial. I will link this in the upper corner. I will also put the link in the description. This is one of the nicest, coolest replays I ever made. I made a lot of mistakes with the Bystial Dragon Link deck, but you can learn a lot, I think. So I hope you liked the video. I hope I explained it well. Hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell and the subscribe if you want to support me. That helps me out a lot. Thank you guys, and we will see each other in the next video.